Hi everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today and welcome. Today we're going to talk, we've talked about the food, we've talked about exercise, getting your body moving, but I think it's just as important that we get rid of a little stress sometimes, slow down. It's mainly just slow down. And we don't even necessarily have to call this meditation. Some people might get even intimidated by meditation, saying, I can't meditate. So for right now, this will be the first video. We'll progress a little bit with this. This is just the first step. So for right now, we're just, if it makes you feel better, call this me time, slowing down time, whatever you want to call it. I was writing a little bit earlier today, and I'm working on a piece, but I'm like, this is going to be a little bit longer piece, so I said I wanted to share this now. I was very in a different place, almost 2 years ago. Now the food thing's better now, my body's better now, but I was meditating regularly 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and within the last year, I've just kind of dropped away from that, and something's missing. And let me tell you kind of my thoughts on it. People always comment that they just can't meditate. They just can't focus and slow down their minds. I got away from meditation other than the moving meditation of yoga, and that is important. I do want to stress that I do have that connection. And I kind of get the same thing when I'm doing yoga for just those brief moments where I can connect the movement with the breath and with, just my mind only focusing on those two things. Now, yeah, it comes back and, it goes in and out. It's like a radio station that's not, it gets clear for a while, then you lose it. And to tell you the truth, and you can probably see it in a lot of my videos, I get a lot of feedback on myself from my videos, and my energy's been scattered. My energy's been scattered for some time. That's why, I watch myself, I watch my videos, and I'm gesticulating, and my hands are going here and there, and I'm moving, and I'm like, that's just not a calming presence for other people or for myself. In fact, when other people are around me doing that, it sometimes makes me a little nervous, makes me a little jumpy, like it's almost like, be still, dude, or don't jump around so much, don't talk so loud, don't talk so fast. Slowing down. Okay, so my energy's been scattered, and a lot of the time my mind is jumping around like a wild monkey. People talk about that with meditation, that the mind is like a wild monkey and you're just trying to slow it down a little bit. Now, as I've said before, there's different purposes for meditation. And for the purpose of what I'm really talking about today, it is just mainly for that slowing down. And for me, and like I say, this is just the first starting of this writing I'm doing. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm just going to go with it. Now is the time to rein that energy in, harness it, and focus it in certain directions. And that's how we're going to begin here. It's like I'm all or nothing. When I was really meditating for a period of time, I was in that place. I was doing it every day mostly, or at least I would say I had a good, 5-6 days a week. There was a good run there for about 30, 60 days where I meditated every day. Might have missed one day within that period, but somehow you take that first day off and a day turns into a week and you're going to get back to it, and then, well, I'm not ready to sit as long as I used to sit, and there's always an excuse, always a reason not to get back to it. And your mind just builds up these barriers until before you know it, it's been, 9, 10 months. And I've meditated a handful of times, but my practice disappeared. So, like I say, when I make these trips to the States, I do work on myself. I try to be analytic with myself. I'm not critical with myself, because that never helps us at all. And I've come to the mindset this last week and a half or so that I've got to get back there. I've got to rein some of this energy in. There's also this thing, this iPad. I'm constantly, it's like I have to be, I have to see what's going on. What's happening? Did I get an email? What's happening? And I just don't, I can't sit. I want to sit and read a book. I want to just sit with my own thoughts. I actually want to sit with no stimulus coming in. I'd like to, there's something wonderful about sitting with nothing. Even if you don't close your eyes and do the meditation, there's just a lot of value in sitting with no stimuli, or as little stimuli as possible coming in. Or maybe, and I would have done it outside, but we have rain today, maybe just sitting outside, like I've been talking about the nature and being with the earth and having your feet in the earth, but just sitting outside. Now that kind of stimuli, that's okay. But how am I going to get back to this? How am I going to get back in my little routine? But I kind of hesitate to call it a routine, because then that adds, a little bit more. It's like every day it's another chore, and it shouldn't be. This should be something that you're just ready to get to. It's almost like being tired and going to the bed and just laying down. Although you do want to be present when you meditate. You want to be aware. But a lot of times for me, it's just about letting go. Letting go. So, for step one, what I would recommend to do, and this is what I'm going to do, just letting you, like this whole channel is, letting you follow and see my process for doing different things, is and I'm not going to put a time frame on it. Now, I might move a little faster than some of you, because I don't know, maybe some of you have never meditated before. And I would say, please try this with me and go at your own pace. Don't put pressure on yourself. Just enjoy it. Think of it as an enjoyable activity during the day. And if you don't want to say the word meditate, don't tell somebody it's time for me to go meditate. Or if you tell anybody anything, just say, I need my me time. And your me time, you can start with as little as 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to start with 10 minutes, but I'm still going to start at step one. I've told you I'm really into this progression stuff these days, whether it's the workouts, or you can think of this, just like the title, transitioning from food. You have to transition into meditation. You don't just not many people, you don't just jump down, sit in meditation for an hour or even a half hour. You start in small bites. And at first, don't even worry about meditation. I would say get a comfortable position. Now, I like to do this because I can, I don't have to concentrate on, I'm building up more strength in my spine. My spine's getting better. I actually can sit for longer periods of time now. When I was meditating regularly, I wasn't doing yoga yet. And, my spine wasn't as strong. But I would recommend this, and I'm going to do this to start off again too. Find somewhere where you can get a wall. This is just a little chest right here, but sit against something. But sit up straight, sit up erect, with your spine as straight as possible. Not crazy overly, but just sit up straight. If you have any back issues, or if you have a problem sitting on the floor and crossing your legs, you can sit in a chair. Try to sit up straight. And even, now I don't recommend doing this in bed, but you can even lay down, kind of like we do at the end of yoga in Savasana, where you just lay down, but be present, and don't do it, especially if you're tired. You don't want to go to sleep. Going to sleep is not the point. So, pick your time, pick your place. Now, that's something I'm going to do. I think I'm going to just set myself up a little regular meditation spot when I get back to Costa Rica. And if possible, don't put pressure on yourself to do this, but I think one thing I was missing before is I need a regular space to go to. Where's my spot, my meditation spot? If you want it to be pretty, this is a little bit, people talk about setting up a little, not an altar. Some people get freaked out because they think that has to be religious or whatever. It can be a little place, just a place with a table, or, some flowers there. If you have photos, or if you have something that's special to you, put it there. But have a place to go to as much as possible. Not saying, don't limit yourself. If you're able to catch some time at another place, do it. One thing that I'm going to work on, I may not do this right from the beginning, is try to establish a time. If you can, you're more likely to be regular at it if you really have that practice, that time, that space to do it. Okay, so find your time, find your space. Then when you get there, you're going to sit. You're going to sit straight. And step number one, all you're going to do is be still. There's not going to be any special, there's different types of meditation. You can use mantras, you can use mudras, which are hand positions. You can visualize, you can focus on something. But for right now, you can count breaths. But for right now, all you're going to do, and this will be your little homework, or this will be what you work on, is you're just going to sit still. You're not going to move. You're going to sit still, and you're going to breathe, and you're not going to try to breathe. Later we'll talk about some different breathing techniques, but for right now you're not going to do any special breathing. Just if anything, just breathe normally and sit there. But don't move. Try your absolute best for that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you're going to start with. to be absolutely still. Don't move your body. And that's going to be step number one, just stilling your body. Don't worry about where your mind goes. Don't even try to slow your mind down. Don't try to focus on any one thing. Don't even worry about the mind. Just all step one is being still. Okay, now of course I don't think you need to watch that. I'm not going to sit here for 5 or 10 minutes and have you watch me sit still, but you've got the idea. So that's going to be step one for you. Just sit still for 5-10 minutes. And you're going to get a lot of benefit just because things are going to slow down, and it's just, even if nothing else, even if your mind is racing, even if it's going to this appointment, what you're going to eat tonight, what you got to do with the kids later, problem you had with your husband, problem you had with your wife, something good you're going to do with your husband or wife later. It's okay. Don't try to squash those thoughts. We'll talk about calming the mind a little bit more later, but for now, just sit still for 5 or 10 minutes. And I think if you will do this regularly, if you'll do it for a week or two, you will find, this may sound silly right now, and if anybody out there meditates, I'm happy you watched this, and you might want to jump back in later, and you might want to even make some comments and help people out. But that's it. For the first step, you're just going to sit. And I think what you'll find is you're going to find benefit just out of doing this. I think if you can do this for 1 week, for 2 weeks, you're going to establish a pattern. And when you've done that for 1 or 2 weeks, and I might actually wait, I think before I'll do a follow-up video on this, I'll probably wait at least 2 weeks. I'll wait 2 weeks and check back in. If you need to keep doing this, if it's feeling good but you don't feel like you're ready to do anything more, keep doing this. Maybe this is all you'll do for the rest of your life. But if you did this for the rest of your life on a regular basis, and don't give yourself a hard time if, in the beginning it's hard to establish a habit. So, you're going to miss a day probably, but try not to. Try to build up to it. If you can't do it at the same time every day, even though that's optimal, do it at different times. But try to put in the next week, 2 weeks, of just sitting for 5 or 10 minutes every day. And then we will try to progress on. And I will, like I say, this is just me sharing what I'm doing. These aren't any specific, I don't use specific meditation techniques all that much. But it's just, let's do it together. And we'll establish a little quiet time that's going to probably give us, probably as much benefit as the food. Probably as much benefit as exercising, just to find a little peace in yourself. I mean, I want to share this with other people because I think I need peace within myself, as scattered as I am. And knowing this, I'm like, I know my lifestyle, and I know most people out there have way more stress than me because you have more obligations, you have more responsibilities. So I think you will benefit a lot from this. Anyhow, I hope you guys like this video. I hope you'll follow along. I hope you'll make comments. Like I say, if there's anybody out there that meditates regularly and has experience, please feel free to make helpful comments. And I hope you guys have a really wonderful week this week. Peace, everybody. Love you.